Hey YouTube, so today I'm making another tutorial. This time I'm going to make a pencil skirt. I had some material left over from one of my other projects and I saw a cute pencil skirt on Pinterest that had a separating zipper on the back that I just want to recreate. So for this, what you're going to need is some fabric. I'm a smaller girl, so 1 yard was enough for me, but it was barely making it. Like, I was seriously struggling to make it work. And I'm also gonna use the separating zipper 24-inch. It's like $3 or $4. Pins, a pencil skirt if you have one. If you have a non-stretch one, that's perfect. If you don't, you can use the stretch one. But just bear in mind that when you're using it to make your shape, you're using it for the shape, not for the size. So I would say mark your measurements on the fabric and then just use the pencil skirt if it's stretched to just follow the shape of the curve of the hip and the waist. You're also going to need your measuring tape and the seam ripper and some scissors. Oh, I got all of these not even in the frame. Yeah, but you're going to need all of this. In laying this out, what I'm doing right now is basically kind of aligning where and how I want my patterns to fall. So this is going to be the back of it. And I'm just trying to align it. After you align it, now you want to make sure that you took your measurements. You're going to measure your waist, your hips, as well as the length that you want it to be. I'm using a 24-inch separating zipper, so the length of my skirt is going to be ultimately 24 inches. You're going to measure out your 24 inches. Now to that 24 inches, I want you to add 2 more inches. So 26 inches right there. I'm going to mark that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side right here. Now to measure out your hips and everything on the skirt, you're first going to measure out your hips yourself. After you measure out your hips, you're then going to transfer it and make that basically the whole length of your skirt. And the reason why I'm doing that is so that it will limit how much cutting I do to the fabric to prevent me from making any mistakes. This right here, oh, it's right there, so I will not be cutting this fabric, but I do want to make note of where they overlap on each other. So after I find the measurement of my hips, I'm going to transfer it onto the skirt and then pin it in place so that I can cut the length of my skirt evenly. So here, if you can see, I'm folding it so that I can get a straight line and be able to cut across it. Here I want to measure the length of my skirt to the length of my zipper, and it seems to be a good fit. So after you figured out where you want the zipper to be, you're going to go on ahead and flip it on the wrong side so that the wrong side of the fabric will be up. You then want to fold this directly in half. So once you fold it in half, then you're going to take your measurements. One thing that you want to do is you want to measure the largest part of your hips, and then once you figure out where the largest part of your hips is, you want to go on ahead and pin that area. Just put the pin there, and then wherever it is that you want your waist on your skirt to sit, you're going to measure that area also, figure out where that area is, and then also pin that area too. So to find the distance from those two areas where the pins are, you're just going to measure that down. So I measured 7 inches. So from the top of my waist to where basically the biggest part of my hips is, I'm going to mark those areas with chalk. So now my waist, the way I wanted to sit was 30 inches. You divide that by 4 and you get 17.5. So to give me some allowance, I'm going to measure out 8 inches. Actually, I'll make that 8.5 inches. And then I'll join it to the 8. And that's going to be where my waist and my hips slope. So using the pencil skirt as a guide, you want to check how your hips curve as well as where the skirt should start to slope so it'll give that pencil effect. I'm then going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut along this. So when you cut it, you're basically going to cut it on both sides. In total now, you're going to have 3 pieces. You're going to have 2 back pieces, and then you're going to have 1 front piece. So before I take them apart, I'm going to sew along the sides and connect the 2 fronts, the 1 front to the 2 backs before I pull them apart. So after you sew both sides together, it should look like this. So flip it inside out, put it on and see how it fits you, because you want to do some fitting while it's on you so you can get it to fit your body nice and, I don't know, just nice. So after putting it on, the back, of course, which is normal, flaps out and low because of your butt area. So to fix that, what I did was I measured the back of my waist from where the seams that I had made were. I measured from here to here, and what I got was 12.5. So after measuring my waist in the back, I realized that I was over by 3 inches, because this right here is 15.5, and the back of my waist measures out to 12.5. So I want to take out 3 inches, and how I'll do that is I need to put darts at the back of the skirt. To take away the 3 inches, obviously I'll put a 1.5 inch dart on both sides, but we want to figure out where we're gonna put those darts. So fold your skirt over, find the half point mark. I'm gonna mark 4.5. That's where I want the center of my dart to be, and I'm gonna do the same thing for this side. But this time I'm going to mark 4 because I want the dart to be a little more centered, okay? So I'm going to mark 4 right there, and that's going to be the center of my dart. So then I want to make it 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches. On that side, and 1.5 inches on this side. So now where you want that dart to end is the same point that you measured the biggest part of your waist. So if you remember, the biggest part of your waist was at 7. So where is that 7? Right here. So this is basically where you want that dart to end. Right here. So it's just basically gonna narrow out as you put it together. Hold on. Yeah, there goes my center. So you just want to mark those areas. So in order to mark those darts, remember there's one up here. This right here would give you 1.5, and that's where we want the dart to end. So you just connect those. So using your fabric chalk, just connect it, just like that. So after you connect it, fold it, and then pin it. I pin it this way so that you can sew over it. Then you're going to do the same thing to the other side. So after sewing on the darts, I put the skirt on to see how it fit, and it fits really, really well. So you can see that after you put the darts on, like, the skirt is really starting to come together. This was the material that we cut off from the skirt. So for the waistline, I kind of wanted to fall on the same color scheme that I have for the skirt. So I also want it to be about an inch and a half thick. So right here would be an inch and a half thick. So I'm going to cut it to be 2 inches. Just want to mark this across the whole perimeter. So I have a yardstick, so just so I can get a straight line, I'm going to use it, but a regular ruler will also do too. And I'm going to cut it. And then what you want to do is you want to cut another strip too. So after you cut both strips of it, you're going to pin it together on the right side of the fabric, and then you're going to sew across the top of one side. So after sewing the 2 pieces together, you want to lay them out flat and iron them, because we're going to basically iron it onto its right side. So, and flip it the right way and iron that way. So after you guys make the waistband, you're then going to take your skirt, flip it the right side out, and then pin the waistband to it. But align it. Remember, if you're using a pattern, make sure you align it to the pattern or how you want it to lay. And just pin it around the perimeter of the skirt. Okay, now to put the zipper on, this is where you want to measure the waist. So remember, in the back, we measured from the seam to from the side seams to be 12.5 inches. So we need to basically get that part to come in that much. So we need that waist to be that, but at the same time we also need to preserve the back. Because we still need for the hips to be 40, to be the size that you measured it to be. So before you sew the zipper on, just so you know it's aligned right when you put it on in the back especially, and you have enough room for your, your back end, just pin it to it and then try it on. After trying the skirt on, if you like the way the zipper is aligned and how everything looks, you then want to change the pins from being horizontal to vertical so that you can sew over them. To sew the zipper on, I separate the zippers from each other and I sew along the edge of the fabric, keeping the pins in place to help keep the fabric aligned on the zipper. I do this to the other side as well. So this is how it looks after I sew the zipper on. You're going to open your skirt up and we're going to do the hemline. So pin one side about 1.5 inches. Go on over to the other side, also again about 1.5 inches. I'm going to pin this and then I'm going to zip it back up to make sure that they align. No. So the yellow is a little bit off. Just readjust it until they're even and pin it. While it was up like this, what I did was kind of like just fold it in a little bit. Open zipper. And pin. So once you get them pinned down, iron it, and this will just help you be able to sew it a little easier. So here goes the finished product. Pencil skirt with the zipper back, which also serves as your slip. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. If you enjoyed it or you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from us, then please subscribe. Hey guys, check out part 2 if you want to see how I made this matching bodysuit to go with this pencil skirt.